Resurrection. An ironic subtitle for a game that died while it was still being created. This is what's left of Castlevania Resurrection and the adventures of Sonia Belmont on the Sega Dreamcast. I remember reading about this game for the first time on Next Generation magazine back in '99, but as time went on, we just never heard much about it ever again. More than 2 decades later and a little bit of drama after the disc showed up on eBay, we finally have this E3 demo available to the general public. It's important to note that there may exist a more complete build, at least based on screenshots and footage found online showing up areas and content not present on this build. Before we even start, I would like to apologize for the quality of my capture. My cheap Dreamcast VGA box added a lot of interference to the capture, and I just didn't want to go the easy route and emulate the game. Regardless, let's just dive in and see what the game has to offer in its current state. The entire game seems to be just a single stage, separated into smaller sections where you're supposed to find a key in order to advance. The keys, however, don't seem to be yet implemented, so I wasn't able to open any of the doors. Thankfully, the game allows you to skip to each consecutive section directly from the pause menu. The game ends with a boss battle against Medusa, and then simply cycles back to the Konami logo and the title screen. One thing to note is that the corridor section just crashes into a black screen on real hardware, and for this reason, I recorded a little bit of footage from this section using an emulator. Graphically, this demo looks already decent enough considering the Dreamcast limitations. It's nothing mind-blowing, but it manages to look on par with some retail games. Framerate, on the other hand, it's a bit inconsistent, especially in large open areas. The sound department, on the other hand, seems quite a bit more limited. There's only a handful of special effects and grunts, and what seems to be just a single music track for the entirety of this build. The camera, as expected from an early build, can be a bit of a pain. The game, however, shows most of its rough edges in the gameplay department. Walking, crouching and jumping seems fine, but aiming at enemies takes a bit to get used to. Hit detection is inconsistent, but at the same time hitboxes seem to be big and forgiving, to the point where actual precision isn't required. The classic whip attack returns, and we also have some sub-weapons at our disposal. Both of these attacks can be powered up by holding each corresponding button and releasing it. There is an evasive roll maneuver that doesn't seem to work correctly at the moment. Sonia just rolls in place instead of moving out of the way. Overall, the game feels a bit clunky and it's too easy to get hit by enemies. But difficulty seems low and it's still pretty easy to beat the whole demo. There were plans for a second playable character called Victor, but unfortunately he didn't make it to this build. Lastly, Controller 2 allows a few debug options and controls, should you want to cheat or use the free camera mode. So after all this time, was it worth the wait? Absolutely yes. This is one of those relics from the past that almost everyone thought was lost forever. And yet, here we have a chance to take a look at what could have been. I just hope a more complete version can be found someday in the future. Just keep your expectations in check and enjoy this glimpse into Sonia Belmont's lost adventures. This is RetroRGB signing out, and thank you guys for watching.
Don't forget to subscribe!